So everyone awake now? Kind of feeling pumped up? It's early. Usually don't wake up until like about now. So I am going to go beyond the real time into some of the practical applications of what it means to run a real-time application, run large production real-time systems. I was shopping around the title for this talk, and came up with observability as kind of the encapsulation of what I wanted to talk about. And it's kind of douchey, but it serves as kind of a placeholder. And it's a little bit enterprisey. Enterprise Substack proves of observability, big data, China market, and observability. So I'm going to bring that, but hopefully bring it back down to something that's still fun. So precondition that we have with observability is that it's hard, especially as we get out to scale. Understanding what's going on with your application and being able to be in touch with that application as we get to really massive throughput, really heavy I/O, gets increasingly difficult. So I'm going to explore some of that and try to build a foundation that you can use as your app evolves and your needs evolve to maintain this observability as hopefully your app gets to a point where it really has a lot going on. So as Kian said, I'm D. Shaw. I'm this unicorn. I actually don't normally have the messed up hair thing. Kind of a normal looking guy. But the artist rendition of bringing these two things together, the unicorn and myself, was too beautiful, and Anton and I went out yesterday and found someone who was game to try to pull this off. But normally, when you encounter me in the real world, I will not be this weird, or at least visibly. So I work at a company called Voxer. We do a walkie-talkie app, and it's an application for your mobile device that allows you to use voice communication on your phone. It's pretty cool. And we do a lot of I/O, and it's all built on Node. And I work on the core platform team there, pushing those bits around. I co-founded with some friends the Node firm. We started the Node firm to help people work with Node, and my specific mission with the Node firm is to help friends. I live in San Francisco. Friends that are working on startups make the right decisions with Node early on and understand what applications are best suited with Node, and help them make decisions where maybe if they're doing a I/O intensive app that Rails probably not going to be as happy with yourself once you get to reality, once you get to users being on the system. It's not the answer to everything, but there are definitely use cases and real-time apps. A lot of the people that I hang out and interact with, the real-time apps, Node just does it better. And finally, I'm involved in a little podcast called Node Up. I hope you all listen to it. If you don't, go to nodeup.com and at Node Up, listen to us. Contribute, let us know what you want to hear about in the community. It's very much a a service to the community where we want to keep everybody sort of involved. And I lived for years in Italy, in the middle of nowhere, and keeping engaged with the programming community as a whole was challenging. And having things like these podcasts is a great way to stay in touch. So, observability, there's an actual definition of it. It's, looking at the, these things in the system. I'm going to abuse basically the term observability. If you're severely pedantic, you might get offended by some of the ways that I sort of twist observability. But when I'm building real-time apps, I'm really looking at two things now. The ability to take it to scale, ensuring that I have the ability to go beyond one server to n servers to, multiples of n servers. And, as you get to those multiples of n servers, you begin to realize, oh shit, like this is really getting crazy. And, just building out for scale is not sufficient. You have to be able to manage, interact, and understand, those computers. So, when we're building our applications, sometimes things just go really wrong. Having observability, you may not be able to maintain control. But you can at least go back and see what happened after the fact. So you want to be able to know what's going on. You want to, if nothing else, be able to go back and see what happened. So at least whatever this guy was thinking that like caused him to lose control of the boat. So like he actually, the driver. Physically falls out of the boat. It's just ridiculous. So, as I was, exploring what really makes observability happen, pulled together these 7 things. I'm going to go into detail. There's an interesting thing with these tools that we have at our disposition is they actually sort of build upon each other to create the next sort of evolution. Implementing logging is one step where as you get into greater scale, you need a way to see that and aggregate on that. And then you have these other insights that you take and you're able to plug into your monitoring software. And then logging eventually becomes insufficient, and so you need to go in and explore that and pull out metrics because the data is insufficient. And then there's DTrace. Logging, it's weird in some areas of the Node community. Logging is I think one of the biggest areas where logging has sort of gotten a bad name is specifically in Socket.io. You can't run the highest level logging in production, or it'll just fall over. Basically, every socket communication event, you'll be serializing your objects, and it's brutal. If you put any kind of load on that, that will destroy you. But in general, you still want to keep logging in your application. It is the foundation for all the other aspects of observability that you'll be building. Understanding what you need to know about your system is the building block for everything else you're going to put in. So capturing some of that data, being able to go in and tail your logs, it's your friend. Like it's taking out logging completely from the picture is an example of premature optimization in absolutely the worst way. So. Like I said, with the example of socket.io, it can hurt you. Having a really big objects that you need to serialize is painful. Excuse me. And the other thing that observability kind of points to is get rid of the useless shit. Don't put in log lines just to have, a log line in there or as a comment. Like, get that stuff out of there. Like, that's not the logs that you need. You need useful metadata that you can, if you're sitting in your terminal tailing something and, the story that your logs are telling you is not meaningful, you need to rethink your logging. So once you have that logging in place, tailing a application is great. But what if you have 100 of them, 500 of them, 1,000 of them, 1,000,000 of them? Like, how do you deal with that? So, taking that to the next step and integrating some sort of a log integration. Most of the log integration, aggregation tools that I've worked with also give you the ability to, do a queries against those logs, and really makes things sane. Logly is a popular choice. It has some issues, and I don't know many people that are using Graylog, but I think you should check that out if Logly isn't meeting your needs. At Voxer, we use Splunk. It is big, enterprisey, kind of hairy, and can be on the expensive side, but aggregating logs is not the problem we're trying to solve, and so having a reliable tool that does that for us is well worth it. And I have a few friends that relish busting out some Perl, and so you can go and do this yourself if either the ops obligation is too high, or you don't have the funding at a certain point to actually implement it. So having that baseline in your application, then you need to start building these points of insight into your application. I'm a huge fan of health or status endpoints that you can curl and at a glance get a quick view of what's going on. So in process you have a couple things that are really useful: memory, uptime, and the process ID. Process ID comes into play if you have a process that's thrashing. We use SmartOS, so SMF can very efficiently restart a process very, very, very fast. And you know what? That turns out to be really bad for the processor. It can really sort of drag down your CPU if that's the case. So being able to monitor your process ID and look to see if there's a delta there, turns out to be really useful. number of connections, useful both as things are growing and if you are trying to clean up processes. So if you have some sessions there that you want to sort of clear out and you've redirected traffic off that and you want to wait and do events on that, capturing those connections are really useful. We have a module called proc that we use on SmartOS, and it exposes some of the information in the proc file system. Gives us CPU micro time for our processes. Really useful. Unfortunately, it's still on just built out for SmartOS. So hopefully we'll see some alternatives to that coming out, or contributions that we want to bring Linux support for that. This is a quick example of what a health endpoint looks like. Very simple to code, but when you have several hundred things, you can write a bash script that in 5 seconds will give you an overview of what's going on with your processes. If any, you can grep on it and see if any of your memory is particularly high, and you can use it for internal monitoring to go pull that data and pull that into, like we'll see in a second, monitoring or metrics. We choose to expose this. We have public and private ports. We choose to expose this only internally. This data, in this particular example, has absolutely no sensitive data to it. So, I wouldn't get caught up in, if you have to choose between having this endpoint and, not, then I would, definitely keep that. Okay, so then the next thing you want to absolutely put into your application is a REPL. You will thank me if you do this. Every one of our production applications has a REPL in it, and it is a fantastic way to go in and see what's going on with your process. I've got a couple modules that are extremely useful. So this, boilerplate is something that we put into every production process. This with the module Replify reduces down to just that. You give it a context, expose your app, and you're done. You have a REPL. You might not need it for several months, but when you need it, you will love it. It's there. So you can use Netcat or SoCat to access that. They're a little bit esoteric, but I'm going to show you how to use that. Even better, I have a module called REPL Client that has both history and tab completion. So you can, if compiling SoCat and getting SoCat in your environment, is too difficult, just go to npm install REPL Client globally, and it's really, really easy. So I'm going to do a quick demo. Running a little bit low on time, but let's go over. No. Okay. So let me fire up this Socket.io server, and I'm going to use Netcat. So Netcat's basically the barest bones of the options that you have, and Replify exposes things by default as app, and you can see what's going on, have a nice insight into your Socket.io server. If you can see at the very bottom, there's no history, so you have to go in and type. If I want to go and see what rooms they are, I have to remember that that's there. So that's a bit of a pain. Be nice to have some sort of a history. So if you use SOCAT, read lines a bit weird. Okay. Suck it out. That suck. All right. So SOCAT will give you the history. So that's cool. If, however, I want to look at the rooms, let me fire up some rooms here. All right. So I want to look at rooms, and I have to remember what all the little bits and pieces are. So room doesn't exist, it's rooms. Okay. Let's change that to RC. And now we can do app, we can do app.rooms. Oh, cool. There's, where am I? There's both rooms and room clients. So I want to look at the dereferenced list of all the socket IDs with the rooms they belong to. I can discover that, and like you're digging through the internals of your server, and all the all the various pieces are not necessarily going to be at the forefront of your mind, especially when stuff's going bad. Having both history and tab completion as you're sort of splunking into your app, fantastic. So please do yourself a favor, put a REPL into your server, and make sure that happens. Running really low on time. The ability to pull in this data into Node.js, or so monitoring your system and having a overall system-wide view of your servers, absolutely essential. Node.js and Reconnoiter tend to be very opsy. They're a bit of a pain, but if you are managing 5, 10, 20 servers, invest a little extra time in having monitoring up, and go beyond just ping. Like ping dom and those things, you will be happy down the line. So the last thing I want to sort of pull that into is, as your data gets so voluminous, you eventually get to the point where you need to rely on something like metrics. Etsy has StatsD. The Summer of Node guys took our internal metric system and have been working on preparing that for open source. We have two things at Voxer that make my life sane. Deployment, the ability to deploy to all our servers, with just a quick command line. And our stats. We have amazing insight into the latency between our processes and all the stuff, basically that we've learned as over time what we need to look at. We put in logging, and then eventually coalesce that into these metrics is phenomenal. These guys, Sean, David, Kit, and DJ, worked on that all summer. You can go and check out LL Quantize, log linear quantization, that we stole blatantly from Joint. They have a great way of sort of pulling together and taking that loss of data and making nice sense of it. So go check out that project. It's a key aspect of our metrics. Once you have those metrics, you can begin to take those to the next level. Have a visualization of the state of your server. We have a sign graph basically over the arc of a day, and if any trough and peak of usage, if anything goes off that, our metrics give us a fairly clear indicator of what's going on. And we're working on evolving that and doing some complex event processing and setting up event triggers for that. So finally, I want to close, and we're gonna go deeper into DTrace, I believe, later. DTrace is amazing. We changed data centers to have DTrace. One little anecdotal thing, we were able to find at Joint with DTrace that the hardware RAID controller in our server was faulty, and that's just still blows my mind. The main reason we did the data center move was to be able to make those determinations where is it our code or is it something messed up with the operating environment, and it's true. All the great things that you hear about DTrace, it's really true. So I look forward to learning more about that today. People way smarter than I get into that level of learning to know your computers. Observability, it boils down to making things usable and understandable by humans. Computers and software is very fast. As the number of those systems gets larger and larger, it gets harder for us to understand. So by building out these layers of observability, you'll make your life saner. So thank you very much.